Redtide has stumped researchers across the state. Now, a $1.4 million grant could help them solve the mystery of red tide. Successfully predicting red tide outbreaks could be vital to Florida's tourism, fisheries, and public health.
My melodic oddities ought to be filed by Dewey Decimal, impressionable use to soothe by my 2 cents and non sequiturs. My secular decadent cadence reverberates verbatim in aid of my rigmarole call. I told y'all once in blunt bold print, when the shit hits the fan, how shit'll hit the fans. Full band on finding elbow room and diminishing space, but seldom heard words turn the page like Finnegan's Wake. Our updates assert the limelight to usher in more passing the back than burping Elliot with rogue regalia that's malleable in my delicate grasp. As time elapses, we rap as fully compatible MCs. The indefatigable red tide collective, the freeze frames of videos, syncretic videos with showmanship, which culminates in standing ovations and encores.
And encores, cause of cause applause accumulation. My presence presents tides of color illumination via ideas and chronic phonics and photos with pros, red as fetish caps and closing. Pros prone to apropos posing like we frozen.
If we're flowing with this rap copycat, call the ball blueprint.
Which of these kids is doing his own thing? Was it my heart or my kicks? I scuffed and ripped amidst this first and ferns, furnished in hugs and kisses when I admit my misread childhood impetuses.
Sisters, brothers, moms, dad, cousins, gramps, aunts, uncles, church folks, friends, coaches, public school, you and other coaches.
With all that influence,
I still manage to salvage my vantage point blank expression
to shots in the dark for progression and attempts at some semblance of symbolism. We assemble similes, rock assemblies simply, sensually, and wreck sessions.
Our red dialect interjects content sequentially. We stand for more than the mere tags on every towers, whitewash walls of stucco. So lock me a lady with the fair shade of hair raising, daredevils tempting fates, amazing feats.
Upon reflection, I think I'm living fat, but out of context. Plus, man, I check that mirror might be convex, blowing my conquest out proportion. So I portion out some hesitance at setting precedents in an underground subculture from a suburban resident.
An elegant means to iterate streams of consciousness from cons of Loch Ness hype to pipe dream scapegoats that float oh so nicely through pop screens. The type of verse that's not dispersed in the pop
my
scene.
My fabric father's imperative inherited phrases and edicts like can you feel it in my double helix.
I speak original, These kids wrote these cliff notes,
jumped off their own quotes,
revised and rewrote.
Audiences remote.
Our root words cause prefix, roll remixtures.
We blurred the absurd blurbs, heard served on curves, proverbs curved verbally and hyperbole.
We blurred the absurd blurbs, heard served on curves, proverbs curved verbally and hyperbole. I speak original, These kids wrote these cliff notes,
jumped off their own quotes,
revised and rewrote.
Audiences remote.
Our root words cause prefix, roll remixtures.
Scriptures a permanent fixture.
Roll rapture captures brothers and sisters.
Elixirs mixed for all my niggas.
Get the picture, developed, enveloping, roll dialogue.
Dodecahedrons form with many side issues. The tide tissues regenerates my mission statements. A stated phrase, raising rocky mountains out of molehills and whole fields of fringe getting binged by the locusts. Low cost rap flossing is broke like Flotsam and Jetsam. On the coast, the cost and acoustics. This loose lip lyricist mad at the moment. Ruthless with a swift kick.
We're highlighted in 30-second segue segments. His vigilant minute men that come quick to leave a jam pregnant and wreck like a kissing cousin's jism. When I christen my kinfolk with these local colloquialisms, I read these regional culinary loops and planted barren planet paths with my rhyme primordial soup. Stirred in fluid crossfaders, I'll spell your doom with a spoon and broads of random fonts from Alpha to Omega. I paint with palettes of palatable lettering. This tape's a taste. My man Schools is just a well-seasoned veteran. From New Year to December, making anthems in the tandem tantrum antics of rogues, rap tantric tempers. So ignite the ember and prepare for battling. My silhouette's in the doorway, but that shit's just a foreshadowing.
I've had a two-dough for our own goody, 2 shows, 2 drunk minimums, hourglass, figures of speech, and each its own non-gender specific pronoun. I pronouns for the nines, nonchalantly large for my vocal courtesan, sundry of surplus info. My lymph nodes swollen pimp mode. Plus, I bust original cynical and cyclical ciphers that push the pie type of product through unions of units. Early noon to moonlit nights that sound nifty to nymphos and units. I speak original, These kids wrote these cliff notes,
jumped off their own quotes,
revised and rewrote.
Audiences remote.
Our root words cause prefix, roll remixtures.
We blurred the absurd blurbs, heard served on curves, proverbs curved verbally and hyperbole.
We blurred the absurd blurbs, heard served on curves, proverbs curved verbally and hyperbole. I speak original, I speak original. These kids wrote these cliff notes,
Jumped off their own quotes,
revised and rewrote.
on niches remote.
Our root words cause prefix, bro, remixtures.
Scriptures a permanent fixture.
Get the picture.
Bro, rapture captures brothers and sisters.
Get the picture.
Elixirs mixed for all my niggas.
Get the picture. Developed in rogue dialogue.
I speak original, I speak original. These kids wrote these cliff notes,
Jumped off their own quotes,
revised and rewrote.
on niches remote.
Our root words cause prefix, bro,
We
remixtures.
make the tracks original. We rap the daily ritual. The moves we make are pivotal.
We rip.
A modicum of syntactical modesty, racially uninhibited within my pivotal role play. Oligarchical archetype, original regimen resonates and stands as a tandem. Borders abandons borders in close proximities. Minuscule remedies cure the common cold shoulder. My portfolio supported by po folks from all quarters of the goddamn globe. My odd man out style is bro repertoire, impeccable weaponry, a definite debutante. Ball is battered that stands imaginative. Marginalized like through the land, rudimentary 2D design graphics. My mind surpasses the baffled amateurs, pathos with logical leaps of faith healing. Mass appealing back to blind foes. Now time holds those accountable with 5 o'clock foreshadows and hours that power my second wind. Like a second city's win, I suck it intro to intermission and possibly apply the epilogue. Largely rogue dialogues, horse timbre, revamp and amplify from slightly south of Tampa.
I've been to echoes and streetland amphitheaters. These creators, the Tide allied, defy description. Interdict with diction and command heads to not intermittence. We left the dragon transfixed. I'll flicks into the sentence. Techniques like a tangible tangent. And raps is sent non-censored in mass transit. We transmit first from rogue subs and unorthodox immersions. Skipping club remixes in favor of our subversion. This antagonist vibes from a submerged locust. Wearing maniacal monocles cause I got just one focus. An agoraphobic master plot. I'm afraid.
You're afraid?
I can't stand the empty spot, so we lockin' word logic like Mr. Spock and body rockin' sues. Rogan sees rhyming naked in your land and news, and prove when we let go, the tide ebbs but mostly flows. So now we waited and waited through many idioms, but when it came time for the tide to philosophize, y'all buried your heads, yet we the ones ostracized.
Redtide has stumped researchers across the state. The Ministry of Redtide has stumped researchers across the state. Now, a $1.4 million grant could help them solve the mystery of Redtide. Successfully predicting Redtide outbreaks could be vital for